Welcome back to my whiskey pick of the week. Oh, you know I'm Eric the Whiskey Guy, and as always, as usual, and as advertised. Oh, am I bringing you a treat this week? Oh, I'm excited. This week, we're going to be trying the Jefferson's Ocean. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Jefferson's Ocean. Oh, I've been waiting a long time to crack open this bad boy right here. Now the Jefferson's Ocean is coming in. It's a 90 proof, so it got a little kick in it. Now they're based out of Louisville, Kentucky. Now even though they're out of Kentucky, it's still not considered like Kentucky straight bourbon just because of the aging process. They got this particular aging where they actually do it at the sea. Now the bottles, the barrels, they still sit for anywhere from 6 to 7 years. But after that, they take all the barrels, they load it up on ships, and they sell them around the world for 6 months. So I'm kind of intrigued to see how it is. The curiosity definitely got me right now, because when I first heard that, I was kind of like, oh wow, that's kind of actually unique. But like I said, some of these newer companies, especially that started after 2000, they coming up with clever ways to basically produce their product. Before we had the Oak and Eden, we had the barrel in bourbon. This one is the around the sea bourbon. So I'm excited to see how it is. Now the Jefferson small batch, that's the regular. That usually come in around $35. The Oceans, you're looking at a increase to about 80. So I kind of think you paying an extra 45 for that cruise ticket for these barrels to go on that ride. Now when I think of this, especially the Jefferson's Ocean, the first thing that comes to my mind would probably be Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow, throwing some barrels of bourbon off the ship, making his own little private stash that he gonna come back to later. So that's what I thought. They should have had a picture of a pirate on here, because that's what I think of when I think of aged at the sea. Now, naturally, a lot of people, they probably when you think of especially a company called Jefferson's, the first thing you probably gonna think of is the president, Thomas Jefferson, but not me. When I think of Jefferson's, I think of George Jefferson. I would like to believe that George did so well in the dry cleaning business that he bought a distillery, and he's selling straight Kentucky bourbon, or bourbon out of Kentucky, and we go enjoy it. That's what I like to think of. Now I had this bottle for a long time. Ever since I got this bottle, I've been kind of indecisive with it. I was indecisive at the store. I was on the aisle looking at it, and to be honest, my wife, she tricked me into buying this bottle. I guess I was taking too long, because I was like, I don't know if I want to get it, and she said, oh well. I think she just looked at the bottle and came up with a story that she knew that I would believe. She told me that, oh, you should get this bottle because they actually drop the barrels in the ocean, and they got a tracking system on it where they monitor it. And hearing it, I was like, oh really? She was like, yeah. So I was like, oh, I gotta get it. I bet that ride home, she probably was like, Eric actually believed that story. So she is by far the best saleswoman when it comes to bourbon. She can sell me, especially when it comes to whiskey. She gonna sell me every time. I'm what you call a laid down when it comes to her. So I like to believe that I was tricked, but I'm gonna see if it was worth it, and should I go back and get another one. So we just gonna dive right into it. Now, one thing about Jefferson's, I feel like Jefferson's is one of those. It's one of those brands that, like, at the store you kind of look at it, but then, like, even if I've had the small batch before, but the Jefferson, I kind of feel like, for me, I kind of compare it to other brands and not even tried it yet. Like, before I had the Jefferson, I'm like, oh, I bet it's just like 1792, or it may be like Elijah Craig, or it's a Bowman. So I'm like, I can get something cheap. So I want to see if it got that been around the world taste to it. Oh, it definitely gas. You can tell a Kentucky bourbon. This is smooth. They may be on to something. Now, they said, and keep in mind now, the brand is less than 20 years old. 24. It's in the 2000s, and they already say, like, legends have it that the master distillery, one day he was pondering and he was shaking his glass like this, and he got the notion that the waves in the ocean and how it rocks back and forth, how that'll be the perfect way to age bourbon. So I'm thinking that he may be onto something. Now, see, if that was me, I think I'll go another route, because I'll be cheap with it. I would probably just rent a boat dock somewhere and just keep it on storage, because it probably wouldn't even be in the ocean. It'd probably be on the river somewhere. But this is very smooth. This is I'm gonna have to give this a 8.5 to a 9. But I see why it's a $45 upgrade too. This is a nice little bourbon to sip on, especially like if you're eating a steak dinner and it's very smooth. I wouldn't recommend doing shots of it. It's definitely, because you want to actually taste it. This is actually an enjoyable pour. And I haven't really been saying that a lot lately, because I've been testing the waters, but with this one, the proof is in the water, because I believe that extra 7 months traveling has actually helped this out. I may be a Oceans fan. I might have to get I believe it's the Tropics. Now I'm kind of curious to see what they did with that. Do they just fly them to an island and keep them up and store the barrels up in trees like coconuts? I wanna see. But right now, I am really gonna enjoy this bottle right here. So my whiskey pick of the week is the Jefferson's Oceans. I highly recommend it. Age that to see. We're gonna do it all again next week.